Welcome back to Switch to Linux, and today I want to ask a very simple philosophical question. What the hell, Firefox? Are you trying to be the world's worst browser on whatever platform people are choosing to use? I mean, that's really ultimately the question we want to look at. Now, of course, not too long ago, they came out and said that, hey, what we want to do is we want to focus more on making money, like selling our soul to the devil. Of course, a day or so after that, they renewed their contract with Google, who provides them over 80% of their revenue for putting Google inside the browser, which is supposed to be the best privacy-specific browser. Now, to be fair, I still use Firefox in many applications, although some of it is starting to irritate me. Obviously, the low-level deep irritations is that giant, you click on the URL bar and it gets really big and then starts giving you, like, the top Alexa sites, like, I really want to go to Facebook. I mean, really? And then they got rid of the ability to get rid of that stupid thing without doing a lot of more difficult hacks, which I have actually done on my production systems, my test systems. Screw it, I give up. But this is why I've always said choosing your web browser is like choosing who you're going to vote for president. We really don't have a good option. Vote for whichever one you think is going to suck the least. Do we want to go with the loose cannon or the dementia victim? I mean, really, which one do we want to go with? I guess that would be Chrome. I don't know. Never mind. But anyway, the latest versions, I first got some information from FerenOS. He linked out a little video kind of illustrating this. But if you look at that video there, I'll have a link for that in the description. He downloads, or he has it on his phone, and then he turns off some of the privacy settings and then goes in, upgrades it, and if you're running some of the latest versions, it's a forced upgrade. Now, I still have some on my Android phones that are old enough to not be forced upgrades, so I can keep using the old Firefox, and I like it that way. And but you get this new forced upgrade. We're talking mobile now, and when you force upgrade it, it resets all of your privacy settings. If you turned off all of this privacy settings, it just turns them all back on. That's like Windows 10. I've gone through and went through the 37,000 privacy screens to turn off all the data collection. The forced update comes through and turns them all back on again. Really? This is why I like to use Linux. I mean, really. So I want to see exactly how bad is this thing. And of course, if you go on over to the Google Play Store and have a look at the Firefox reviews, what you find is that it actually has, really high ratings. And then you see this big block of really low ratings. And then you pull it down. It's like nearly every modern review is 1 star. And I'm like, well, what's going on with that? So I went ahead and grabbed my EOS phone here. And I went ahead and installed Firefox. And I just went ahead and walked through everything. So we see here on our very first boot, the first thing that they really did, of course, they're just pushing that sync feature there. I'll go ahead and make a screenshot of this so you can kind of see that. So what we're seeing here is at the very top, we have this sign into Firefox sync, and that never goes away. Of course, the biggest complaint is that the address and URL bar is on the bottom. Totally weird. Now, to be fair, they actually have the ability to toggle that. You can put that to the top, you can put that to the bottom, put it back to the top. It's much the same. They give you that option. I'm not sure how they come back in and change that later. We also have the light theme, dark theme, or automatic. But if I even go with the strict, notice, automatic privacy. We're going to go with these strict settings in automatic privacy. Say, all right, let's go ahead and start browsing. And then what we're going to do now is let's go ahead and look at our settings. And if we have a look at our settings here, and let's just find our data collection. I thought we went with strict privacy. Why is everything turned on? So no, I'm not really interested in any of your crap. Marketing data, yay, shares data about what features you use to Firefox. With Lean Plum, our mobile marketing vendor. Great. So now Firefox is going to be selling our data to other people. That's exciting. The other thing that people were concerned about is they actually killed About Config. So if you wanted to go ahead and change your settings in About Config, yeah, you really don't have that issue anymore. Sorry, no big deal for that. Other people were complaining that you could not set your home page. Let's go ahead and see if I can set a home page or not. Apparently I can't set a home page anywhere. Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, can't go ahead and set a home page. We can do our collections down here, which I have no interest in using. No interest in any of that pocket stuff. We have our What's New button here. Yeah, What's New? We crippled the browser and got everyone pissed off at us. That's exciting. So anyway, that's really what they did. They crippled a lot of the features about config. That's the thing that makes Firefox a good browser. And if they do that in the desktop browser, Firefox will instantaneously cease being a good browser. Instantaneous. Is that coming? I haven't seen any notice of that, but would it be too far out of the scope? Now, of course, the other thing Firefox has been doing a little bit crazier lately is the DNS over HTTPS. They've been trying to force it. They did give us a second option, so now, as of now, we have Cloudflare and we have, is it Dino DNS? I forget. It's or is it Next DNS? It's one of the other DNS systems. So we have two options. You can create your own DNS host and put them in there as well, but what originally where they were really giving you a lot of information, they eventually got rid of that and gave you an opt-out notification. You know the notifications that we always ignore? When you first install Firefox now, I don't think when you update it, but when you first install it, it's just one of the annoying notifications that looks just like the other notifications you ignore. And it's just like, hey, yo, we are going to turn on DNS over HTTPS, and hey, you got to click here if you don't want that on. Well, many people just ignore that little pop-up because we've been so trained to ignore those little pop-ups, and your system has that on. Say, well, what's so wrong with that? Security or DNS? There's a lot of fundamental problems. I don't even think that should be a function. And I explained those in pretty good detail in my DNS over HTTPS video, so you can go ahead and have a look at that. But overall looking at what's going on with Firefox, they have moved away from their founding principles. They're now focusing on making money. They laid off a lot of people, which a lot of them were in their security teams, things like that. And then now they're automatically, even if you had these settings all turned off, they're now automatically sharing your browsing data with a third-party marketing system unless you explicitly turn it off later. I mean, that's a little bit on the crazy side. So ultimately what we're seeing here is Firefox seems to be in a race to the bottom. They're moving away from the very principles that caused me and people like me to use Firefox from the very beginning. They've cast it aside. They said, no, we're not going to continue focusing on the privacy. Instead, we're going to package your data and deliver it to our marketing guys so we can make more money. And I get that you want to make some money. I don't have a fundamental problem with that. But where I have a fundamental problem with it is when you're changing everything. When you're forcing the update to an app that then turns on all of your data collection, even when you explicitly say, hey, use the most strict privacy rules. You don't have that. When you're trying to force DNS over HTTPS, even though there are a lot of fundamental problems with that thing. Do you realize that most ad blockers, not really the ad blockers you put into your system, but your overall system-wide things that parents will put on the computer to monitor what their children are doing because they're good parents and keeping active degree, are bypassed by DNS over HTTPS. That's a fundamental problem. So that you could get around these blockers. Now, is it good in some respects? Absolutely. If you have some crazy boyfriend / girlfriend who's installing malware on your computer to spy on you, it gets around that. Hey, bonus. But we're talking about how parents protect their kids. And this is a fundamental problem. I want to see if the canary domains still function, if it still does the same thing. That would be a neat function to look at. And I know pfSense is now putting that canary domain as an option into it. At least if it's not pfSense, then I think it's NGBlocker. We'll figure that out. I'll have a look at that a little bit later. I'm due for an upgrade on my pfSense anyway. Anyway, with that being said, I just want to leave that for you guys. Let me know what you think. Is Firefox just becoming like this crazy deranged moron group of people who have lost their total way? Or do you really see and understand and really support the directions that they're going? I know I made that sound like if you don't agree with position A, you're crazy. I don't. I really want to hear your honest opinions and views on that. So let me know all those in the comments down below. Before you go, if you like this video, you can help support this channel, go ahead and give us some likes, give us some comments, give us that information there. Share it on social media if you want. You can follow along on our social media. We have Twitter, Minds, Gab, Reddit. We are on Mastodon. We are Switched to Linux on Fostodon. You can find us over there. Those should be linked in the videos there. We also have Patreon, Think Life Media, and brand new, we have Subscribestar as well. So if you want to help support the channel, Subscribestar is a new way to do that. So with that, thanks for coming along, guys, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.